Let's have a look at the new RALLY1 cars for 2022. This is the biggest technical change for 50 years in the top rally class, and there are lots of interesting design features to talk about. Let's start with the rule changes for 2022. The cars have a turbocharged 1.6-liter 4-cylinder engine with around 380 horsepower like before. New is the change to a simpler 5-speed sequential gearbox instead of the hydraulic pedal shift system of the past. Because the cars got rid of their hydraulic system, including electronic mid-differential, they got lighter and simpler. The drivetrain has one diff at each axle, so the torque split is always 50-50. Also new is the addition of a carbon fiber hybrid box, which includes a 100 kilowatt electric motor, a 3.9 kilowatt-hour battery, inverter and battery management system. The box weighs 87 kg and is the same for all three competitors. With the simplifications of the rest of the drivetrain, the cars weigh around 70 kg more now. In terms of packaging, the hybrid box leaves space in the middle for the prop shaft, so it can sit behind the seats and in front of the rear axle. And it packages the electric motor on one side. The diffs are homologated, so it's going to be interesting to see how teams bring the power of the electric motor onto the prop shaft. The whole drivetrain is very similar to RC buggies, which don't have a center diff and an electric motor at the back which drives the prop shaft. Aerodynamically, there are two big changes. The teams now have to design a cooling circuit for the hybrid box in the back, which teams do with air inlets at the side and outlets at the back. The other change is that diffuser and also the dramatic wheel arch openings are not allowed anymore. So how did the three teams adjust to the rule changes? Let's start with Hyundai. Hyundai lost their team boss during the preparation for the 22 season and didn't test the car as much as the other two manufacturers. Overall, the new Hyundai looks a lot simpler compared to its rivals. The wheel arch openings are gone, as well as the diffuser. The additional air intakes for the hybrid cooling system are hard to see because they blend in perfectly with the rear side window. If we think about how to design such a cooling system, priorities should be no obstruction for the rear wing flow and to design the ducting for as little resistance as possible. Little resistance means the directional changes for the airflow should be as small as possible. That would mean that I should position the inlet for such a system as far forward as possible. So ideally it should start right behind the driver door, because that still has to open. I want to position it as low as possible to not obstruct the flow to the rear wing, but I also don't want to catch the front wheel wake, because that would reduce my cooling performance. Also, for cars like this, I have to be careful with the A-pillar vortex not to catch such a high-sitting inlet. The side mirror mountings stay out of the way for a cleaner flow to the back. So it looks like Hyundai designed a system that changes the look of the car as little as possible, but in terms of obstruction, air energy and resistance, it's not ideal. At the back, we can see a small center exhaust pipe and two simple openings where the air from the radiator of the hybrid system can exit. Now let's come to Ford. Ford is using the Puma body with its round design. They use the simplest design for the side mirrors and positioned the air intakes for the hybrid system a lot lower and also wider. So these intakes catch a lot of air, have less directional changes because they're also closer to the center radiator, and they stay out of the way for the massive rear wing. Instead of two small openings like the Hyundai, the Ford has one large outlet at the back for its square-shaped radiator. This shape allows to get away with one large fan that blows straight into the wake behind the car. And now let's come to the Toyota. Since the cars lost a lot of downforce because of the diffuser ban, Toyota tried to recover as much downforce as possible. They did this with a trick we know from F1, the rake angle. Instead of having a small diffuser at the back, they angled the whole car. That way the whole underbody becomes a diffuser and the car generates more downforce. In terms of the hybrid cooling system, Toyota positioned the air inlets right behind the doors, as much forward as possible to keep their internal resistance low and also out of the way for a decent rear wing flow. Toyota used to have much larger inlets during testing, but reduced their size significantly until the car was revealed. So it looks like they know exactly how much cooling they need. The side mirrors have a pretty extreme shape. as their mountings act as wings that create additional downforce. A risk here is that the suction of the mirror could pull the front wheel wake upwards and into the massive air intake. But because of the blanked wheel arches, it looks like the wake is pushed outboard and should clear the inlet. Interesting is also the back of the car. Instead of using a square radiator like Ford, Toyota uses a rectangular shape with approximately double the surface area. If the same amount of air flows through a larger radiator, the speeds and hence resistance are lower. Toyota then covers the lower half of the fan with a pulled-up surface. That way, the fans always blow the air upwards, which creates upwash. If air goes up, the car goes down. You generate downforce by that. Another nice detail are the additional wheel arch opening ducts at the side. So instead of catching the air in the wheel arch, which would act like a parachute, Toyota guides them to the center and lets the air exit at the back, in a low pressure zone. So although the wheel arch openings are banned this year, Toyota found a way to effectively still do the same thing. It looks like a really interesting season lies in front of us. Let me know how you like the new RALLY1 cars and see you at the next video.